noise, just awake. And in that darkness, for 1 or 2 seconds, you might feel something else too. A presence, like something is in the room with you. Here's the strange part. People have felt that exact same thing in the exact same way for thousands of years, and almost every culture on Earth gave it a name. To understand why, we need to go back to how humans actually used to sleep. The 8-hour block you're trying so hard to get? It's new, maybe 150 years old. For the 300,000 years before that, humans slept completely differently, and the reason we changed has almost nothing to do with biology. It has to do with a switch on your wall. Before electricity, before candles even, when the sun went down, the world didn't just get dark, it got pitch black. You couldn't see your hand an inch from your face, and every single one of your ancestors was vulnerable in that darkness. So for most of human history, night wasn't something you slept through, it was something you survived. Then came fire. The earliest solid evidence of controlled fire goes back roughly 1,000,000 years, to a cave in South Africa called Wonderwork. Fire kept predators away, but it also did something stranger. It gave humans extra hours in the day that didn't exist before. Anthropologists studying groups who still live close to this old rhythm, like the Juhwanzi and the Kalahari, found that during the day, most conversation was practical. Work, food, logistics. But at night around the fire, more than 80% of conversation turned into something else. Stories, myths, tales about people from other places and other worlds. But while people sat around that fire, something else was happening to their sleep. Something we lost completely and never even noticed. In 2001, a historian named Roger E. Kirch spent 16 years digging through old documents, diaries, court records, medical texts, even lines from Homer. And he kept finding the same two words over and over across centuries: first sleep and second sleep. Before artificial light, people didn't sleep in one block. They went to bed shortly after sunset, slept about 4 hours, then woke up. And they stayed awake, calm, not stressed, for an hour or two in the middle of the night, then slept another 4 hours until morning. This wasn't insomnia. This was just sleep. This is how humans slept for most of our existence. In 1992, a researcher named Thomas Wehr tested this directly. He put volunteers in darkness for 14 hours a night for a month. No lights, no screens. Within weeks, every single person fell into the same pattern. 4 hours of sleep, then a calm wakeful period, then 4 more hours. During that wakeful window, their brains produced high levels of a hormone linked to deep calm, the same one associated with meditation. It wasn't a gap in sleep. It was its own state. Calm, reflective, almost meditative. But here's where it gets strange. That window, wide awake, in pitch darkness, body still partly in sleep mode, is also exactly when something else tends to happen. It's called sleep paralysis, and it might be the most consistent shared experience in all of human history. Here's what it feels like, and if you've had it, you already know. You wake up, your eyes might even open, but your body doesn't move at all. You're fully conscious, lying there, and you cannot lift a finger. And then, for a huge number of people, comes the part that's almost universal. The feeling that something is in the room, standing near the bed, watching it. Some people report a heavy weight pressing down on their chest. Some hear breathing that isn't theirs. Some see a shape, in the corner, by the door, leaning over them. Now here's the part that should give you chills. This isn't a modern thing. This isn't internet brain rot. Go back through history, across completely unconnected cultures, and you find the exact same description, again and again, with different names. In medieval England, they called it the Old Hag, a witch-like figure that sat on your chest at night while you slept. In parts of Scandinavia, it was the mare, the root of the word nightmare. In Japan, it's called kanashibari, being bound by metal. In parts of West Africa and the Caribbean, people still describe a presence pressing down at night, sometimes attached to spirits of the dead. Different continents, different languages, different religions, same exact experience, same time of night, same feeling of something standing over you. 5:30. For most of human history, there was no other explanation for this. If you woke up paralyzed, in total darkness, sensing something watching you, what else would you call it, except a ghost, a demon, a witch? It wasn't superstition for the sake of it. It was the only model that fit what people were actually experiencing. And here's the connection nobody talks about. That second sleep window, the calm, meditative gap Wehr's subjects experienced, and the sleep paralysis window are the same window. The same biological gap in the night that gave ancient humans quiet time to think, to talk, to dream, was also the exact moment their brain occasionally glitched between sleep and waking, and produced one of the most consistent hallucinations in human history. The campfire stories and the ghost stories were born in the same few hours, possibly from the same mechanism. So what happened to all of this? Light. Again, In the 1600s, cities started installing street lamps, then cheaper candles, then gas lighting in the 1800s. Then in 1879, the light bulb. And within one generation, the kind of night that had existed for 300,000 years was gone. There's a word that's a relic of this shift: curfew, from the French couvre-feu, cover the fire. In medieval towns, a bell would ring at night, signaling everyone to put out their fires. Night was when you were vulnerable. Night belonged to whatever you couldn't see. Today, the average person is exposed to artificial light for 7 or 8 hours after sunset. Blue light from screens suppresses melatonin, the hormone that tells your body it's time to sleep. Your brain can't tell the difference between a light bulb and the sun. At 11 p.m., it thinks it's daytime. And researchers found that people who go camping for just 1 week with zero artificial light have their melatonin cycles reset by nearly 2 hours. 1 week. That's all it takes for 300,000 years of programming to start coming back online. Which means something interesting. Most of us don't get a second sleep anymore. Our nights are shorter, more compressed, more artificially lit, but some people still wake up at 3 a.m., still feel that gap, still occasionally feel that strange presence in the dark for a half second before it fades. So the next time you wake up at 3 a.m., heart racing for no reason, with that brief sense that something is in the room, you're not broken, and you're not imagining something new. You're standing at the exact crossroads your ancestors stood at every single night for 300,000 years. The same gap, the same darkness, the same flicker between sleep and waking that once gave us our stories, our myths, and maybe our ghosts. Maybe don't reach for your phone. Maybe just sit with it for a second. You might be feeling something humans have felt every night since before we had a word for ghost, and long before we had a word for insomnia. Right now, somewhere between midnight and dawn, your eyes are going to open.